You're watching Camnet News. Welcome to Eid. Happy New Year. This is 2021 and we're meeting for the first time. Thank you so much for joining us on the news desk. My name is Sharon Kalimbola. The story is making headlines on our desk. Vice President INONGE WINA directs Agriculture Ministry to rehabilitate old dams countrywide. Oil Marketing Association of Zambia pleads for government oil supply contracts. And on a sad note, a late iconic radio personality, ZACHARIAH CHAVULA, celebrated. Stop the service until everyone follows COVID-19 health guidelines, South Africa's Home Affairs Minister says. And in international news, Mauricio Pochettino appointed new Paris Saint-Germain head coach. Join me shortly for the details.
Hello, have you heard about MINSTER? Do you know that you can advertise for as low as 150 kwacha for 30 seconds? Well, MINSTER is here. Advertise on MINSTER between 17 hours and 18 hours. Just tell us about the services that you offer and we'll gladly put you on the market. For more details, you can contact
+260 953 995099 +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467.
MINSTER, allowing your business to grow.
Thank you for joining us. The Oil Marketing Association of Zambia, OMCAZ, has urged the government to support local oil marketing companies as a way of locking up and maintaining a stable fuel market price for a period of 12 months. Addressing the media in Lusaka Saturday, OMCAZ President Dr. Kafula Mubanga says there is need for the local oil marketing companies to aggregate supply of oil directly from a refinery so that the price of the commodity is locked up from the supply end to avoid any price hike demand from multinational companies. Dr. Mubanga has challenged government to give local oil marketing companies a 40 to 50% oil market supply, which he hopes will help abate the budget. Meanwhile, Dr. Mubanga has expressed gratitude to government for the issuance and enforcement of statutory instrument number 125 on value-added tax zero rating order of petroleum products, which was amended on the 1st of January 2021. He says this is a positive move that will see many OMCs bring in the commodity in the country and trigger a favorable fuel pump price in the country.
The government has since issued a zero rating SI in respect to the VAT that is based on the product. I want to state very clear that this is a positive indicator and an indication that we do have a listening government in place. The effect of this is that there will be consistency with the pronunciation of government and parliament in as far as the pump price maintenance, that the pump price will not change as far as government is concerned. But this will also cushion the supply of this product by the OMCs to ensure that the product is availed on the market. Now you really understand that the effect of the availability of the product on the market means that government policy on the supply or increase of price of product maintains its consistency. We do hope that government will ensure to uphold this SI for a good time so that the trickle-down effect will get to the Zambian and the common Zambian consumer of the product.
Vice President INONGE WINA has directed the Ministry of Agriculture to quickly assess and rehabilitate all old dams across the country in order to prevent disasters like the case in Momba District, Central Province. Speaking in Momba when she visited the area where over 270 people, livestock and agricultural fields were affected by floods due to the dam outburst, Mrs. WINA has expressed worry that the dam, which was constructed in the 1950s, has not been receiving adequate maintenance. She notes that with intensified rains, it is expected that the damaged dam wall may release more water, which would flood people's homes and cause damage to infrastructure. Meanwhile, the Vice President has also directed the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, to increase the relief allocation to the affected families, most of who are currently accommodated at the camp at St. Edmund's School within Mombwa. Earlier, DMMU Assistant Director for Prevention and Mitigation, Lenganji Skaona, briefed the Vice President that more than 270 households were displaced and are currently being sheltered at a school.
So where that man is standing, can the man's budget before?
There is an urgent need for the Ministry of Agriculture to assess all old dams in the country and to design a program for routine and preventive maintenance. The Ministry of Agriculture should collaborate with the Ministry of Water to ensure that the repairs to these dams are done jointly. The ministry should equally ensure works of an emergency nature to be undertaken quickly at Kandesha Dam to forestall a second wave of dam floods that can cause another devastating effect.
Now, the start of the rain season is supposed to be a joyful moment for many, but not most people who live in the city. This is due to the fact that areas get flooded at the slightest fall of the rains. One such area is Main Ward Kwamwena of Chongwe District, where the roads have been practically impossible due to clogged water. Residents have complained to Camnet TV, stating that their elected leaders have done nothing to help the situation over the years. A check by Camnet TV indeed found the roads blocked, with rainwater making it impossible for people to freely walk around. The water that has also reached people's yards is causing worry and panic among the residents, who fear it may result in waterborne diseases such as cholera, typhoid, among others. The residents are since calling on their elected leaders to help the residents secure the construction of proper drainage system, which will allow the water to easily flow. Meanwhile, efforts to get a comment from Area Member of Parliament Jafen Mwakalombe and Area Councillor Matthew Ngosa could not materialize by broadcast time, as their phones went unanswered. Meanwhile, the situation is no different in most parts of Lusaka, where flooding becomes the order of the day during rain season. In other news, 7 people have died in a road traffic accident which occurred on the 1st of January 2021 at 20 hours at Moshaba village along Samfya Serenje Road. In a statement availed to the media by police spokesperson Esther Katongo, says the involved persons was a driver identified as Elevenson Kombe, aged 30, of Chembe District Council, who was driving a Toyota Hilux registration number BAE 8527. This resulted in 7 pedestrians who died on the spot after the driver of the said motor vehicle lost control of the vehicle and carried off the road to the right side into the bush. In the process, hit the pedestrians. The district council secretary, who was also on board during the accident, has survived with minor injuries. The driver of the motor vehicle has since been charged with 7 counts of causing death by dangerous driving and will appear in court soon. Meanwhile, police in Chilanga district have received a report from Banda Katio, age 61, of Long Bridge in Chilanga, that his son, Xavier Katio, age 28, also of Long Ridge, committed suicide after allegedly murdering his wife, Susan Mono, aged 20. This occurred in the early hours of today, 2nd January 2021, around 03 hours in Chilanga.
7 people have died in a road traffic accident which occurred yesterday at about 20 hours at Musaba village along Sanfia Serenje Road. Involved in the accident was the driver, identified as 11son Kombe, age 30, of Chembe District Council, who was driving a Toyota Hilux, registration number BAE 8524. Also involved were 7 pedestrians who died on the spot after the driver of the said motor vehicle lost control, careered off the road to the right side into the bush, and in the process hit into pedestrians who were off the road. The district council secretary for the same district, Chembe, who was also on board during the accident, has survived with minor injuries. The driver of the motor vehicle has been charged with 7 counts of causing death by dangerous driving. And this in Chilanga district received a report from Banda Katio, age 61, of Long Bridge in Chilanga, that his son, Xavier Katio, age 28, committed suicide after allegedly murdering his wife, Susan Mono, aged 20. This occurred in the early hours of today at about 03 hours in Chilanga district. Police visited the crime scene and found the body of the female victim with multiple cuts on both hands, on the back and abdomen, with intestines protruding, and also they discovered human bites on the shoulder, chest, and on both hands. The body was found lying halfway on the mattress, while the body of the suspect was found hanging in the corner of the same room in which the body of the woman was.
Messages of condolences for the late radio personality and Hot FM Chief Executive Officer ZACHARIAH CHAVULA have continued pouring in, with many expressing shock at his untimely death. Mr. Chavula passed yesterday after battling cancer, and the Independent Broadcasting Authority, IBA, has learned this development with shock. IBA Director General Josephine Mapoma says the death of Mr. Chavula has robbed the media sector a radio legend whose career spans decades. The authority will remember Mr. Chavula for his contribution to the broadcasting sector through his innovation, interview programs, and entertainment. Meanwhile, the Media Institute for Southern Africa, MISA Zambia chapter chairperson Helen Mwale says Mr. Chavula will be remembered for his great contribution in advancing the media profession through his tactical interviewing skills. Mr. Chavula, who was until his death CEO of Hot FM, anchored shows such as The Hot Seat and was famously known as Zakadocious. May his soul rest in peace. On this note, we take a break. Join me shortly for other interesting stories.
And why do you look so pale and busy scratching yourself?
Well, Amwandi, you know my skin is very sensitive. I've tried all the skin products and nothing seems to work.
Have you tried Oracle Pure Glycerin?
Oracle Pure Glycerin? What's that?
Just give me a minute.
Oracle Pure Glycerin gives your skin a youthful and healthy glow.
Ish, you're glowing. Don't tell me.
Yes!
I already know the secrets.
Oracle Pure Glycerin!
Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for that perfect skin.
Can I have that meal over there? And I really want that crisp, fresh apple taste in the garden. Can I have the apple?
I think I'll have my big bite 2 meal with happy.
Grandpa,
Waziwaka, give us your...
Enjoy an appetizing big bite meal with an Appy drink of your choice. A meal is not a meal without an Appy drink. And now introducing Appy in a can.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchavula@savenda.com.
Hello, have you heard about MINSTER? Do you know that you can advertise for as low as 150 kwacha for 30 seconds? Well, MINSTER is here. Advertise on MINSTER between 17 hours and 18 hours. Just tell us about the services that you offer and we'll gladly put you on the market. For more details, you can contact
+260 953 995099. +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467.
MINSTER, allowing your business to grow.
This is Camnet News. Thank you so much for staying on. We continue with the rest of the stories. The International Federation of People with Albinism Blindness President says 3,000 people who are physically challenged and vulnerable will be empowered in order to improve their lives. IFPA President Pastor Peter Ngoma says it is for the first time that his organization is receiving funds. Pastor Ngoma says the empowerment is a loan which will be paid back from the individuals that will be given cash, which ranges from 5,000 kwacha to 100,000 kwacha. The IFPA president was speaking during the launch of the empowerment program for persons living with disability on Saturday. Details in this.
The fight against poverty in the country remains a responsibility of all responsible Zambians, regardless of their status in society. Persons living with disability, the world's largest minority, often face barriers to participate in all aspects of society. It is for this reason that the International Federation of Persons with Albinism and Blindness and Disability, IFPAP, have launched an empowerment for the disabled and vulnerable in the country. And speaking during the launch, IFPAP President Pastor Peter Ngoma has urged the will-be beneficiaries of the empowerment to use the fund wisely for the intended purposes.
We have a program for empowerment, which are empowering businessmen and women. Some of them have been applying from 5,000 to up to 200,000 kwacha. And we have also a section for grants, which are given to people who are old age, from 75 and above. It should be 1,000 kwacha a month. We have a budget section to be helping the students who study within and abroad. So supporting also those in lower classes, that's grade R to up to grade 12. So these are types of sponsorship which we are rendering to our people in various communities. Our major focus is people with disabilities, but we include also the able-bodied, also to take part on this grade which has been offered to each part. So ladies and gentlemen, especially our beneficiaries, both the roles, the empowerment fund, and as well as the grant, the bursary. When you are given this money, please use it wisely. Use it to the intended purpose you get this money for. Don't just misuse the fund. No. To the empowerment people, to the empowerment those empowering, as an organization we say, we teach you how to fish a fish so that tomorrow you fish for yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, let us learn from this so that we learn and teach others so that they can also fish for themselves. This support is not just for you to enjoy, but we are creating a room for you to support someone, either with a disability or not.
Disability is indeed not inability.
Thank you very much.
Prudence Chota for Camnet TV News.
Now, Zambia has recorded 4 deaths in the year 2021. Ministry of Health has reported that the country has recorded 2 deaths on the 1st of January and 2 more deaths on the 2nd of January 2021, bringing the total number to 4 deaths. The 4 deaths have been recorded from Kalomo, Kitwe, Lusaka and Dola COVID isolation facilities. In the last 24 hours, Zambia has recorded a total of 233 COVID cases and 169 recoveries. The country has so far cumulatively recorded 21,230 cases of COVID-19, 18,942 recoveries and 392 COVID-related deaths. Last week, Health Minister Chitalu Chilufya announced that the country has recorded a new strain of COVID-19, which is more contagious and associated with super spreader events such as funerals, weddings, parties, concerts and drinking places. The minister has since urged citizens not to relax but continue following the stated COVID-19 preventive guidelines. The National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPES, has expressed gratitude towards President Edgar Lungu's call to urge teacher unions to ensure that their members are housed even before retirement. Speaking to Camnet TV, Union Secretary General Nelson Mwale explains that NUPES has been on the ground to ensure that the teachers are given affordable housing while they are still in employment. He says the union is in the process of securing land and resale to the teachers at a reasonable price. Meanwhile, Mr. Mwale has urged all its members to ignore assertions that NUPES forced other unions to sign the 8% increment that was given to teachers among other civil servants. He says it may not be what people wish for, adding that the negotiations will still be brought on the table this year.
The National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPES, we are delighted that His Excellency also has echoed our view that as unions we have a serious role to play in ensuring that our workers are properly housed even before they retire. You realize that we see a lot of destitution of our workers after they've retired because a number of them are failing to plan for their accommodation. And so as NUPES, we've been all over trying to secure affordable, pieces of land so that our workers are sold at a very affordable price and eventually benefit and put up their own accommodation to, get rid of the destitution that was earlier, talked about. Having said that, I also want to take this opportunity to advise our workers out there to ignore assertions that are all over social media, insinuating that the National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPES, actually bulldozed the rest of the unions in signing the 8% agreement that we agreed during our bargain with government. The correct position is that whatever position we come up with during negotiations is a collective. There are no unilateral decisions that are made by a particular union. Whatever we do is done collectively. And whatever is circulating, insinuating that NUPES actually bulldozed the rest of the unions in signing 8%, which we all agreed, I think is a regrettable situation. And once more, we are calling upon our workers to ignore that and move on. And we want to thank our workers for actually understanding the position, the economic position of government.
The Patriots for Economic Progress (PEP) party president Sean Tembo says the recently launched economic recovery plan lacks specific objectives that seeks to achieve, and it lacks specific interventions that need to be implemented to achieve economic objectives. Mr. Tembo says the plan therefore does not qualify to be called a plan because it does not respond to the needs of the country. He says this is a clear demonstration that the current government is incapable of developing, presenting and implementing sound economic plans for this country. The opposition leader says there is no doubt Zambia needs a turnaround, but that can only be done with the right people in leadership.
We have decided to develop and present to the nation an economic recovery plan that will be an alternative to the one that was presented by President Edgar Lungu on the 17th of December 2020. This decision was arrived at after we perused through the economic recovery plan that the President had presented, and we realized that it was inadequate in a lot of areas. For starters, it did not have specific economic objectives that were going to be pursued in the planning period, as well as it lacked any specific interventions that had to be implemented in the planning period. And so we have decided to come up with our alternative economic recovery plan, which the nation can consider and possibly compare with the official one that the President presented. Our alternative economic recovery plan for Zambia will be presented to the nation on the 21st of January this year at 09 hours at Palm Valley Resort in Osaka.
This is Camnet News. We take another break. Join me shortly for international and sports news.
Savenda Group of Companies would like to thank the Zambian people for their overwhelming support and trust throughout its 23 years of business, especially during the challenging year of 2020. You have been our true friends and partners on this journey of saving nations and developing Africa, our motherland, which is what Savenda stands for. As the Group CEO, on behalf of the board, management and staff of Savenda, I would therefore like to take this opportunity to wish His Excellency Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, the President of the Republic of Zambia, the Zambian people, our esteemed customers and partners, a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
Dr. Bigron, musaibala kumutienda ukuni gift na land. Uchenkubeti uibise mojo basaione. Oh! Mwina moshi, nakuletera njinga. Latest inaluvesi gear na mawaipa.
Difficult dia shidia njinga. Liam 19 pendef kondo. Transport, we got it.
Nanga phone for communication. Ipu sana chizungu. Yeah, you see what I mean?
It's a Camnet, difficult.
It's communication. We got it.
Inemomi! Powerful system ndimba X-Buzz.
Mfumile kukalale. Na mnaimo muli bakumushi. We got it. Yo Bikron, utole noleta nchemfule mungani. Ngecho wachira pose na chinshi. 1, 2, 3, both of you. Kabala ngempanga. Don't be stupid. We got it.
We all know how important good nutrition is to grow up big and strong. Not only is cowbell milk enriched with 28 vitamins and minerals, it's also boosted by the 5 most important vitamins, which we call Vita-Rich.
It's got vitamin A for good eyesight development. It's got vitamin C to help fight infections. It's got vitamin D and calcium to help build strong bones and teeth. It's got vitamin E to help with body protection. And it's got vitamin K for general well-being and immunity.
For good health and vitality, only Cowbell with VitaRich puts you on the fast track.
Hello, have you heard about Msika? Do you know that you can advertise for as low as 150 kwacha for 30 seconds? Well, Msika is here. Advertise on Msika between 17 hours and 18 hours. Just tell us about the services that you offer and we'll gladly put you on the market. For more details, you can contact
+260 953 995099. +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467.
Msika, allowing your business to grow.
Welcome back. In international news, South Africa's Home Affairs Minister Aaron Motsoaledi this morning monitored COVID-19 compliance levels at Beitbridge border post. The minister was also there to monitor and resolve problems relating to the delays in processing documents, traffic congestion, and alleged false COVID-19 certificates by travelers who are crossing to South Africa from various countries, mainly Zimbabwe. The South African country is intensifying its efforts in the fight against COVID-19 after it recorded the second wave of the virus, which medical personnel say is deadly than the previous one. In other news, as Africa's free trade local deals comes into effect, Niger's weak infrastructure and poor industry base mean the country will continue to depend on imported products, making it difficult for local industries to grow. Some economists say the continent's poorer countries will remain at a disadvantage. Al Jazeera has more.
Social distancing. Nobody's punishing you when you are asking for that, because that's the only way to save human beings. It's not a punishment, and you must not take it as just one of the funny laws from government. That's the only instrument we have got until the world immunizes everybody, which is going to take a long time in the continent of Africa. So a mask and sanitizing and social distancing are the mainstay of protecting you and ourselves and protecting everybody else. So I'm going to ask you, when this gentleman asks you to stand aside, you are supposed to have done markings here, they are not there. You're supposed to stand at least a meter apart. You can't just stand in a group like this. After this, you are going to get infected. There's no question about it. And so what is the use? Where are you going to if you are infected, you are sick? Why are you rushing to an infection? So I'm going to ask that gentleman to make you stop. If the queue goes outside the tent, so be it. And I've instructed him. If you don't cooperate, he must stop the service. Yes, because you are running towards the service and this cooperating. If he says social distance, you don't cooperate. Are you listening to me? Yes. Stop the service until people are in a queue. I'm doing the same thing on Home Affairs offices in South Africa. When people don't cooperate to stand on social distancing, we stop the service until you cooperate. Because social distancing is not a punishment, it's a preventative measure. Can you start? Don't stand next to each other. That's the law. Everybody else in the world is doing that. You stop the service until the social distancing is okay. Yes, stop the service. And don't continue serving everybody until you are satisfied that the social distancing. There's no other way. You hear me, man? Stop the service until people do social distancing. Stand 1 meter apart. Because it's not a punishment, we are saving their lives. And our lives and the lives of everybody else. There's no other way of doing it. There's no other way of doing it.
Workers at this garment factory rushed to deliver thousands of face masks. The owner says more than 2.5 million were met here to help Niger control the spread of COVID-19. But as the Africa Free Trade Agreement comes into effect, he foresees trouble ahead for the continent's poorer countries.
Small and poor economies will always be at a disadvantage. Hopefully, as time goes on, we can get special considerations. Otherwise, it will be difficult to compete.
Businesses in poor countries may have their concerns, but overall, experts say the agreement will eventually benefit them. They believe the cheap cost of labor in these countries will attract more industries.
Intra-African trade can spur industrial development. The level and pace of industrialization among African countries vary. Some will have advantage over others, but African countries need to buy and sell raw and finished products among themselves.
Landlocked Niger currently imports most of its needs, from bottled water to food and machinery.
From big retail to local markets, Niger is flooded with imported products. Because of its weak infrastructure and industrial base, the country will continue to depend on imports, making it difficult for local industries to grow.
Experts say it's hard to see European and Asian multinational companies giving up the trade advantage they've held in Africa for a century. Products from Europe, Asia and Africa's larger economies line the shelves at Niamey's biggest retail monopoly. Consumers prefer these brands. Traders say there won't be many local goods on store shelves unless government steps in.
We should be given support. Government should facilitate easy acquisition of land and loans from banks.
But it's hard to see how governments on the continent can do that without breaching the protectionism rules of Africa Trade Agreement and the World Trade Organization.
We now look at sports news. In sports news, Mauricio Pochettino has been appointed as the new head coach of Paris Saint-Germain. It is the former Tottenham Southampton boss' first managerial role since his dismissal at Spurs in November 2019. Pochettino replaces Thomas Tuchel, who was sacked by the French club 4 months after steering them to their first Champions League final, where they lost to Bayern Munich in Lisbon. Pochettino, who played for PSG from 2001 to 2003, told RMC Sport in 2016, "Coach one day at the PSG, that would make him happy." Pochettino were at an advanced stage before Christmas. Thomas Tuchel was sacked by the French club 4 months after taking them to the Champions League. Tuchel took over from Unai Emery on a 2-year contract in June 2018 and signed an extension last May, which would have seen him stay in Paris until the end of the current campaign. That item ends our news this evening, but before we go, let's just look at the top stories once again. Vice President INONGE WINA directs Agriculture Ministry to rehabilitate all old dams countrywide. Oil Marketing Association of Zambia pleads for government oil supply contracts. Late iconic radio personality ZACHARIAH CHAVULA remembered. Stop the service until everyone follows COVID-19 health guidelines, South Africa's Home Affairs Minister says. And in sports news, Mauricio Pochettino appointed new Paris Saint-Germain head coach. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day. It's coming from Deuteronomy 31, verse 6, and it reads, "Be strong and courageous, do not be terrified or afraid of them, for it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not leave you or forsake you." That's all we could accommodate for you on the news desk. Thank you so much for joining us. Happy New Year once again. Good night.